Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles Saban, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a hell of a show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, and also check out the DREAMERSPRO podcast that we have pinned in the comments below if you want today's full show before it comes out on YouTube. Let me get into this topic here. So yesterday there was an interview that took place on the PBD podcast with Patrick Bet-David himself and Stephen A. Smith. Now, they have had to sit down together before, and I think this is the second time that they did it. It was about a 2+ hour interview, and during that conversation, they spoke about politics and a bunch of different things. But the part I really tuned in for was essentially to hear the sports aspect of it, to hear what they were going to discuss. And during that part, they were talking about Jordan, the Bulls, Isaiah Thomas. They even spoke about Zion Williamson towards the end. But during their sit down, there was a part where they were discussing Michael Jordan in the Last Dance docuseries. And as you guys know, we all saw it. One of the probably arguably the best sports docuseries ever. Certainly the most successful. So they were talking about it. Patrick Bet-David was explaining, how it was so powerful. He flew all of his executives, I think to Florida, wherever the hell it was, for them to sit down and watch it. So they were talking about it. Stephen A. Smith then revealed during the conversation that at the time when the docuseries came out, ESPN and a lot of the major networks were actually suffering. And had it not been for Jordan and these guys pushing the docuseries from June to April and then publishing it, those networks would have actually lost hundreds of millions of dollars. So for those of you who didn't hear what Stephen A. Smith had to say about the impact of the Last Dance docuseries, that's what we want to get into today. But before we even get into that, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is really simple. Instead of just selecting a team, you just select 2 or more players, pick more or less their projected stats, and then you place your entry. For example, this week, I'm selecting 2 entries. Stephen Curry for more than 25 points, and then I got Anthony Davis for more than 2 blocks, and Damian Lillard for more than 4 3-pointers made. Prize Picks is also the only daily sports platform with an injury insurance policy. So for example, if you have a player who gets injured in the first half and doesn't return to the second half, that player gets automatically rebooted. What I also love about Prize Picks is that it offers weekly promotions like Taco Tuesdays. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. That's go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, use code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. And once again, once you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what Stephen A. Smith had to say about the impact of the Last Dance docuseries, and then we're going to come back and react to it. Take a listen to this part here.
Oh, there is, and it's funny because when Last Dance came out, we were glued to this. Yes. It was always Sunday night, 2 episodes. It was 5 weeks.
It helped that COVID was going on right now, and there was
that's right.
That went on.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's a good point on what came out. So
he saved us because that's when it wasn't supposed to come out. If I remember correctly, it wasn't supposed to come out until June. But once COVID halted the NBA season, he granted permission for it to be moved up so content could be provided while the games was not going.
You made the entire company watch all 10
I rented out episodes. The Breakers Hotel. Exactly. I flew all my executives in. We watched the whole thing in 2 days together, and we deciphered, and we went through every single issue on every episode. We took breaks and talked about it for 2 straight days.
I did an ABC special on it. After it aired on ESPN had me go on ABC and do a Last Dance special, hosting the show because of it. That's how big it was.
Sick. It was sick.
So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say. Now what I'm going to do is I want to read some articles for you guys. I got 2 articles that basically talked about the success of the Last Dance docuseries. I'm going to read them from 2 of them. I'm going to read from a CNN article. This one says, The Last Dance scores viewership record for ESPN. It then continues on to say, Michael Jordan hasn't played basketball in nearly 20 years, but he's still scoring big for the big ratings for ESPN. The premiere of The Last Dance, the network's highly anticipated docuseries about Jordan and the Chicago Bulls NBA dynasty, averaged 6.1 million viewers on Sunday night, the network said in a statement on Monday. That makes The Last Dance the most viewed ESPN documentary ever. The debut of the 10-part series was a hit, with the 18 to 49-year-olds grabbing 3.5 million in the advertising beloved demo. Unsurprisingly, the top market for viewership was Chicago, where Jordan spent the majority of his basketball career. ESPN announced last month that The Last Dance would be moved up to April from June in order to fill the void that was left by live sports. Since the coronavirus pandemic put the sports world on hold last month, the network has cobbled together a schedule of classic games, studio shows, and films. Now, I want to read from another article. This is from Variety. It says, The Last Dance, Michael Jordan series finishes as the most viewed ESPN documentary ever. Michael Jordan may be the greatest basketball player of all time, and the documentary about his historic career has proven to be the biggest in the history of ESPN. With the ratings for the final 2 episodes of the docuseries officially in, The Last Dance averaged 5.6 million viewers across its 10 episodes, beating all previous numbers put out by ESPN Docs. Episode 9 was watched around 5.9 million times, up 10% from the week before, and making it the 3rd most watched episode of the series, behind only the premiere with 6.3 million and episode 3 with 6.1. Oddly enough, the finale lost a little ground on the penultimate episode, drawing 5.4 million pair of eyeballs. And then the article goes on to say a few other things there. Now, the question I have for the audience is, how is this possible? How is this possible? How is this possible? I remember the 75th anniversary All-Star game when Jordan came out and he received a lot of applause. And I remember the following day on television where Nick Wright said that that would be the last moment that Michael Jordan would be relevant. Again, that was what Nick Wright said. But here's the question. When was the last time we saw Jordan make an appearance like that since he retired? Apart from maybe Kobe's, I think, memorial service or something like that. When was the last time you saw it? I can't remember a time. So for a guy that hadn't played basketball in 20 years, and has these basically cronies on television arguing against him every single day, and the Nick Wrights and the Shannon Sharps and these guys, how is it possible that he was able to garner that many eyeballs? How is that possible? I think the only answer to that is because Jordan is clearly the greatest player and the best player to ever play basketball. And the numbers show it. They've always shown it. Even when he played basketball, more people watch basketball than they do today. Go look at the finals numbers. Go look at the ratings. To me, it's no big surprise because this is the Jordan effect. Look at his sneakers, how they sell. Even some of Jordan's biggest haters wear his shoes. It's to that point. It's to that point. So none of this really surprises me, to be honest with you. It's Jordan. It's the Jordan effect, and it's one of the reasons why in sports media, if you wanna have a conversation about basketball, you got to compare to whoever it is you're trying to compare. You got to compare them to Jordan because Jordan's the standard. If Jordan wasn't the standard, why don't they compare other players? Why don't they compare, for example, LeBron to some other player? Because they know Jordan, and they know if they compare him to Jordan, you're going to get the clicks and the eyeballs because no one moves the needle more than Jordan. As a matter of fact, we probably wouldn't even know who Nick Wright was had he not had his debut episode, I believe in 2016 on Undisputed, where he said that LeBron had passed Jordan. That's his most viewed video on the internet, folks. Has millions of views. He was talking about Jordan. Nick Wright has had 1 million LeBron videos. None of them have hit 1 million views. But the minute he came out there and said that, as it pertains to Jordan, that was his basically call to fame. Nick Wright owes Jordan a lot of checks. What do you think? And a quick aside, I'm going to add this in. If you listen to that interview with Patrick David, he spoke about the level of popularity that Jordan had. He said at the time when Jordan was playing, the 2 most popular people in the world were Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson. Stephen A. Smith said, you may think the LeBrons and all of these guys are famous. He's like, you haven't seen anything else. You don't know what Jordan is. And Patrick David said he was doing that without social media. Jordan is by far the most recognized, one of the most recognizable, or arguably amongst the top 3 most recognizable athletes in the world. In the world. Every major athlete was influenced by Jordan. Name them. Ronaldo, Beckham, Messi, Kobe, LeBron, all of them. He's easily the most popular NBA player in the world. It's not even close. That's why his shoes do what they do. People say, oh, it's Nike marketing. So Nike don't market Kevin Durant and LeBron and all those other guys. They didn't market them. Because those guys weren't able to capture the imagination of fans and sports enthusiasts all over the world the way Jordan did. That's the fact of the matter. This ain't about your opinions. This ain't about what this person is saying, what that person is saying. Those are the facts. There's Jordan and then there's everybody else. And I personally think the second most popular athlete, NBA player to ever play in the NBA is actually, in my personal view, some people say it's Magic Johnson. I actually think it's Kobe. Kobe globally is huge. Europe, China, United States, it's massive. His impact, and Kobe shoes do really well, actually. But these are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.